Hello, virtuous thought leaders, scholars, and virtue change agents. My name is Dr. Lisa Marie Portugal, and I have another talk for you today called Virtue Building and Minimizing Vice, an Aristotelian Virtue Framework. And I love this graphic here. It's so beautiful with the trees, right? And the beautiful sun shining through. Shine because you can. Magnanimity. And if you listen to any of my talks, you probably know that magnanimity means greatness. And we're going to talk a little more about that. It is a virtue, and it is the virtue of greatness, but it can only be achieved through the attainment of all of the other virtues. So we have to have all of the other virtues working on our side, working within us, character building within us, so that we can achieve greatness in ourselves, in society, in community, and in nation. All right, so let's take a look. Table of contents, we're going to go over a traditional Christian perspective versus might is right. We're going to talk about Aristotle on magnanimity. We're going to talk about magnanimity as a guiding principle, and then conclusion and references. The gift of magnanimity. I love that concept. Okay, so for a traditional Christian perspective versus might is right. What does that mean? Some cultures highly value a might is right and the ends justify the means philosophy. I'm sure you've heard those two statements, right? While other cultures value a traditional Christian perspective that rejects those concepts and promulgates virtue building and character building and minimizing vice. So we have a very different philosophy, don't we? Teaching, promoting, and fostering a traditional Christian worldview has the ability to advance a culture of excellence in self, organization, society, nation, and global interactions with others. The key lies in promulgating traditional Christian concepts to all people and in all interactions with others, right? And this is what we do by our modeling behaviors, right? Our high expectations, our high standards for ourselves and for others. Why is this important? Because it has the ability to foster a culture of excellence and the health and well-being of all. When people reject this proposition, it is because 1, they do not fully understand these concepts. 2, they prefer a might is right and the ends justify the means philosophy. And 3, they embrace a relativist perspective, so prevalent in the last 100 years here in the United States, as you know, especially in the last 60 years, because the magnitude of these concepts have not been fully understood in comparison. So that was kind of a long sentence there, but basically, these are some reasons that I have noticed throughout my travels here on Earth, as well as looking through and reading the research on virtue building and character building, that these are some of the reasons why people may reject our Christian perspective or philosophy, and they may not really understand what it is in comparison to their philosophy, right? And why it helps to improve people, improve their circumstance, improved health, right? Better communications in communities and societies with each other. Okay, so let's take a look at Aristotle on magnanimity. The one who thinks himself worthy of great things and is really worthy of them. Self-confident, discriminating concerning honors, fearlessly committed to the great cause, right? We have our great cause. Transparency, admits no moral superior, completely virtuous. And I love this last quote here. Magnanimity then would seem to be a sort of adornment of the virtues, for it makes them greater and it does not arise without them. Interesting, right? So we have to build all of the virtues within us first, or we cannot reach magnanimity or greatness in self, greatness in society and nation, right? So we have to build virtue, character building within ourselves, within others, so that we can reach greatness in nation. This is why it is difficult to be truly magnanimous, since it is not possible without being fine and good. Very cool, right? So that is Aristotle. And we can, as a nation, as a society, as a family, As a culture, we cannot reach greatness unless everyone is practicing the virtues and character development. So that's why it's very important what you do. So let's talk about magnanimity, a guiding principle. In Western nations, we have been exposed to the traditional values of Christianity for the last 2,000 plus years, and that is why so many of us have similar views regarding what is right and what is wrong. However, we now live in pluralistic nations with many other groups who have not been exposed to our way of thinking, operating, and worldview. Thus, it is a great time for those of us with traditional Christian values and sensibilities to educate newcomers to our nations about our worldview and why this perspective fosters the health and well-being of all. From a traditional Christian perspective, why is it important to understand vice? Why is it important to understand how vice can damage the body, the family, and the nation? How can building virtue and character development in self, others, society, and organizations foster a culture of excellence? Very interesting questions, right? I have some more for you. How can building virtue and character development and virtue improve situations, the lives of people, and organizational success? How can understanding vice help us to teach others how to improve their lives? Why is character development and virtuous behavior important? These are rhetorical questions that we can ask ourselves. In addition, these are questions that we can answer from a traditional Christian worldview. So you being a Christian, we already know the answer to a lot of these rhetorical questions, don't we? But other people don't. And this is where you and I can come in and help others, right? So the virtue of magnanimity, or the pursuit of greatness in self and others, can be a guiding principle for effectively changing the culture of an organization, a society, and a nation. Don't we all want to see that? I know I want to live in a culture of excellence. I know I say that all the time, but maybe at some point we'll get there, right? So with the help of all of us. So in conclusion, let's ask ourselves this question. How can you educate others about your high standards, values, and beliefs regarding proper ethics in a manner that promotes excellence in the workplace, the school place, or wherever you happen to be? Very interesting question, right? So we're all going to do it in our different ways, right? How are we going to build virtue in others? How are we going to talk about character development to help others improve their lives, their families, even their health? Well, this is my way, or one of my ways. I have other ways, but you're going to have your own creativity in doing that as well. All right, so I'm hopefully I gave you some new nuggets and some new ideas to take with you out into the world to do the work that you do. And here are some fantastic references. There are 2 slides of references. So at some point, if you want to stop the talk later, and when you review this and go through some of these, you might be able to use some of these references for your own papers and your own work when you're out there teaching others, or even for your own publishing. All right, I want to thank you so much for joining me today and raising your own leadership competencies. And God bless you. You have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.